Months were passing, and by this time, Rodney had grown to be the girls' father and superhero. Times where Mahogany would leave Rodney with the girls countless times and days. He would take the girls to the park, and even sometimes to the ice cream trucks that came through the hood. At this point, Rodney have became very accustomed to Mahogany, leaving him with the girls days at time to go get high. On this night, Mahogany had been gone for 2 days. Sammy and Tiff thought it would be a great idea to take it upon themselves to trash the kitchen with every box, food, canned snack and concealed juice container was spilled all over the floors and walls. Sammy even grabs the bag of flour and spin around in circles, creating a snowman between the two. While Rodney was passed out asleep on the couch, Tiffany was happy for once, playing like a kid, smiling and laughing with the hopes Mahogany didn't pick out of all nights to come back home. Mahogany shows up with the girls still in full action. She flips out, screaming and yelling at Rodney to get up off the couch. Cereal was rolling in the living room while cooking. Flour filled the air. After yelling and cursing Rodney out to get up and clean the house up, Mahogany tells Sammy to head upstairs to her room. While Tiff followed behind Sammy, Mahogany jerks Tiffany's collar, causing her to fumble backwards. Tiff knew she was moments away from getting demolished. She raises her fist to plow Tiff in the face, but Rodney grabs her hand in midair. Tiffany runs upstairs. With Rodney being around, he was able to save her from her mommy's WWE SmackDown. One day, Rodney was outside fixing parts to his car, while the girls danced around the glass table, in front of their mom, talking on the phone. Mahogany was so in-depth with her phone conversation that telling the girls to stop playing around the glass didn't come to mind. As the two girls danced, Sammy slips and falls into the table, shattering the glass all over. Blood was running all down her leg, covered with glass. Rodney runs in the house to see Sammy there crying hysterically. He immediately picks her up. Rodney says, "If I take her to the hospital, is they gonna get CPS involved?" Mahogany says not if you take her, but Rodney didn't want to leave Tiff there, because he knew once he left that Mahogany was going to demolish her. Tiff knew Rodney was her lifesaver and even knew what was about to take place. Rodney's eyes said it all. The moment the front door closed, Mahogany picks the table leg up off the floor and cracks it over Tiffany's head. Tiffany falls to the floor, holding her head for cover. Mahogany snatches her hand off her head and bangs her head on the TV stand that was in front of her. Tiffany's forehead starts squirting out blood. Tiffany gets the courage to run upstairs for safety. This time, Mahogany didn't chase her. The following morning, around 5:00 a.m., it was an alarming sound, banging on the front door. Everyone was upstairs asleep. Tiff woke up due to the people banging on the door. It was so smoky that Tiff and Sammy couldn't see. Fire alarms were ringing off the hook, banging at the door while everyone woke up in confusion. The entire downstairs was on fire. Rodney begins yelling for the girls. Sammy was yelling and crying, which is how Rodney was able to find the girls through the smoke. As the firefighters broke the glass windows to the upstairs, Mahogany grabs Sammy out of Rodney's arms as Mahogany was told to toss Sammy out of the window. He kneels down while flagging smoke out of her face and says, "It's okay, Tiff. Someone is going to catch you." Rodney tosses Tiff out the window. She bounces on the trampoline, causing the firefighter and neighbor catches her. Rodney and Mahogany jump right after. Everybody in the hood saw the burned-up apartment on fire. One of the nearby neighbors even yells that Ho Prolly was in there getting high. The family was sent to the Red Cross Housing Center for a while until they are able to be put back in an apartment unit. 3 days of being in the crisis center, Mahogany leaves Rodney with the girls and go missing for days. A month of following all the guidelines to get up out of there. Rodney was handed new keys to their new apartment. As he packs up the girls' things, Sammy asks Rodney, "Can we go to the park, Daddy?" Rodney responds, "Don't you want to see your new room and new toys?" Sammy nods her head. Yes. Months were passing, and Mahogany still hadn't reached out to Rodney to know where he was with the girls. Eventually, Rodney gets a new girlfriend that even helped him out with the girls. After 5 months of still no Mahogany, Rodney and his new girlfriend Tiara went to local neighborhoods, asking if anyone had seen Mahogany. A few junkies mentioned seeing her around, which then let Rodney know she was still alive. A few days later, it was known to be Christmas. Rodney and Tiara opens gifts with the girls while enjoying breakfast. The afternoon arrived, and Rodney thought it would be a nice idea to take the girls to his mother's house to receive more gifts. Sammy and Tiff enjoyed visiting Rodney's mom, whom they called Nana. The moment they arrive, Grandma Nana, she greets them with warm hugs and cookies. The beautiful day went by so fast. The girls played out in the snow while the adults talked about where Mahogany could be, with coming up short of no results. Tiara tucked the girls into the pull-out bed and goes to finish up the conversation with Rodney. Everyone slumbered downstairs because Nana didn't like having little people in her room. Around 2 a.m., Tiff gets awakened by the moans and slaps sounds coming from Rodney and Tiara. They were fucking. Tiffany watched as her vagina throbbed. She reaches in her panties and begins massaging her vagina extremely hard at the sight of her daddy pounding his girlfriend. After everyone orgasmed and exploded, even Tiff, everyone went back to sleep. The following morning, Grandma Nana was making sausages and pancakes with even asking the girls if they wanted orange juice or apple juice with excitement. The girls say yes to orange juice, with the excitement of being happy at Nana's. A few hours had gone past, and Tiff and Semi hadn't seen Rodney or Tiara for a while. Nana asks the girls if they heard where they were going. The two shrugged their shoulders. While the girls were watching television in the living room, Nana begins making phone calls, calling people around in the hood. That was just as noisy as she was. After an hour of calling around, she finally receives a call back from Miss Pat, who's lived a few houses down. She yells into the phone, "Honey, child, I heard that son of yours and his little girlfriend out here real early this morning. Just arguing woke me the hell up." Nana rolls her eyes, irritated that Miss Pat had to be the one to deliver info about her son. "Oh, really? Yes, right in front of my darn on porch. Okay, Pat, well damn, tell me what happened. You want to be prolonging the details." Miss Pat proudly says, "Oh child, that Rodney of yours is back on that stuff. And his girlfriend said she ain't about to keep covering for his ass." Nana holds her mouth in disbelief. "And what else, Pat? 'Cause I know you leaving something out." "Oh child, I ain't leaving nothing out besides the fact. The girlfriend says she pissed that he leaving the girls with you. And some ol' other stuff I couldn't hear to good." Nana knew she was holding more info back, but heard all she needed to hear. After getting off the phone, Nana paces the floor back and forth in shock that her son, who has been sober for years, had gone back on drugs. Nana prayed that Rodney wouldn't go back in the streets even after meeting Mahogany. Rodney expressed that regardless of Mahogany flaws, he was in love from the moment he laid eyes on her. Nana didn't like the fact that Rodney snuck off at some point to marry Mahogany with, knowing all she came with. But with Rodney being his mama's firstborn, she had to deal with it. Tiara was different. Nana liked that she was wholesome and not in the streets type of girl. Tiara made it very clear that she wasn't signing up for Rodney's competition. She wasn't aware of his previous drug addiction, so she left. The streets were talking. It traveled all around the hood that Mahogany and Rodney was back in full effect. High and hopeless, Rodney loses his apartment and his car. Nana was left with no choice but to keep the girls. While Nana worked as a representative of Housing Authority for low-income homes, she went out her way finding babysitters for the two. One morning, Nana asked a woman by the name of Annie to watch the girls. Annie was known for having 3 boys, all mid-teen ages. Nana didn't know that Annie was getting high and barely had her own kids. She just knew Annie was the woman that everybody on the block asks to watch their children. Annie was known to the streets as go-getter hustler, getting money anyway. How? All while keeping her reputation status under wraps. Even nosy Miss Pat couldn't tell. It was being said around the hood that Annie's youngest son belonged to Rodney. But during that time, Rodney didn't want his mom to think he was out getting high again, so he denied ever having relations with Annie. When word got back to Rodney that Annie has been watching his girls, it didn't make him or Mahogany budge. All Rodney and Mahogany saw was crack pipes and cocaine. On this particular day, as usual, Annie was watching the girls, or at least they were safe in her home until her 3 boys came in the house from playing outside. While Sammy was asleep on the couch, the 2 young boys lured Tiffany upstairs. The first boy took Tiff in the closet that was in his room and immediately yanks her pants down and begins playing with her vagina and flat chest. He pulls down his pants and begins gliding his penis on Tiff's vagina. Tiff begins crying. "Why the heck you crying, little ugly ass girl?" As he's saying such words, the other brother walks into the closet, with telling the other brother to leave out. The brother leaves, and Tiffany attempts to get up. The brother pushes her back down and begins shoveling his penis into her mouth. After a few minutes of stroking his penis in her mouth, he jams it all the way to the back of her throat, causing her to throw up. You nasty smut. Tiffany runs to the bathroom and hide behind the bathroom door, crying. Blood mixed with saliva was running out of her mouth as she cried in pain and confusion. Tiff was back downstairs, sitting next to her sister Sammy, when Annie walks in, screaming loud on the phone, waking Sammy up. As she walks upstairs, a white man is walking in with her, following behind her up the stairs. Tiff and Sammy just sat there looking at the dry painted tan walls while the television stayed on static. Nana finally comes to pick up the girls with noticing they looked extremely hungry. Where the hell is Annie? Sammy points to the stairs. Nana storms up the steps, storming past the boys playing Nintendo in their bedroom to swing open Annie's bedroom door. She swings the door open, only to find this white man and Rodney having a threesome. Nana screams Rodney's name at the top of her lungs, then storms out of the room. The girls downstairs looked at each other with confounding looks, wondering, when did Daddy Rodney come through the door? Nana is yelling as she's running back down the stairs, I can't believe you, Rodney. You try-filing as shit. You would climb through a window for a hoe, but won't come get these kids. You should be ashamed of yourself, you sick bastard. Rodney was so high that he couldn't respond. Juice stood there on the steps, lost without words. Nana yanks the girls' arms to get them up off the couch while trampling on the cat's tail on the way out the door, throwing the girls into her car. Miss Pat is standing on her porch with her mouth twisted to say, Hey Nana, I see you finally see what the hood been seeing 'bout. That son of yours. Nana yells back, Pat, shut the hell up and go back in the house. Pat responds with a smirk.